I've been waiting to hear you talk about FDMG. I stole a piece of your video and put it on my promo. I hope you don't mind.
No problem. No problem.
Okay. So, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about it, man, before I get into my questioning and hitting up the audience and all that.
Okay, a little bit about what in particular, good brother?
FDMG, how you came about it.
Yes, sir. Well, let me first say this. Since you are based out of Charlotte, North Carolina, I want to let the good family know that Dr. Umar Johnson, the Prince of Pan-Africanism, will be coming back to Charlotte for the first time since February of 2015. So it's been 4 long years. I will be in Charlotte on Saturday, July the 6th at the Carol Hoffner Center, if I'm saying that correctly. Mm-hmm. And that's an 8 p.m. program. And the doors open up at 7 p.m. on Saturday, July the 6th. For more information, they can email info at AKEN, A-K-E-N, info at AKENentertainmentgroup.com. Info at AKENentertainmentgroup.com. If anyone needs the flyer, they can text me or email me for it, Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com, or they can text me for it, 215-989-9858. With regard to the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, we were very blessed this past February the 7th, 7 days before my great ancestor Frederick Douglass's Earth Day, to have closed on a school in Wilmington, Delaware, a former black-run charter school, which is now the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. We have 4 beautiful buildings, which includes 2 schools. We don't have 1 school, we have 2 schools. And so now that we've acquired the property outright, we're trying to raise money for the property to renovate it as well as pay the taxes, the real estate taxes, the annual taxes on the property. So we're asking folks to donate as much as they can. We need to renovate these buildings. They're 2 beautiful modern schools, not old. And we want to renovate them because the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy will not only be a school for our young men and ultimately our young women, but will also be the central organizing location for Black Power in the Western Hemisphere, not just the United States, but the entire West and possibly the world, because we have a center, a campus where we can meet, we can strategize, we can hold all of our conferences, our events, our workshops, our seminars, our think tanks, our study groups. We can do it all within those 4 buildings. In the large school, which is the Frederick Douglass building, we have a large modern gymnasium where that can fit easily 1,000 people. On top of that, we got 16 classrooms, approximately 16 classrooms. We have a lunchroom. Then in the the Marcus Garvey building, which is the smaller of the 2, we have another 8 to 12 classrooms, another lunchroom in there. And then we have another small gym, which is a separate 3rd building. 2 gyms, 2 schools. And then we still have a 4th. And the only thing that stands between us and the beginning of our nation building efforts is to renovate those buildings so we can get our certificate of occupancy from the city and get started. It's nation time.
Disclosure, because this ain't our first time, talking and dealing with each other and all that kind of stuff. And I told them, I said, well, I always believed that you believed what you were talking about. And I also told you the last time we spoke, I said, I have doubted you, Doc, but I always believed in you. And I knew this was going to happen. I knew you was going to get this school, man. I knew it. And, I'm coming down when you come out here too, Doc. You're going to see me out there on July 6th, man. I'm coming through. Can I get an interview, Doc, or what? Can I get an interview in July, man?
Yeah, we'll probably do the interview the day before. I'm trying to get in the day before, but we'll do it the morning after. I tend not to do interviews on the day of the lecture only because I'm kind of focused on that message for that day. Okay. But we can do it the evening prior or the morning after.
Works for me. Well, I'll hit you up and we'll set up something because I'm in the Queen City. So, wherever you need me to come or meet you or whatever, I'm there. All right?
Definitely.
Yeah, so now that you have it, okay, now that FDMG is there, when do you anticipate, the doors opening to start taking in students, start hiring teachers and faculty and staff? I know it's a long process, but when do you anticipate, all of this stuff happening?
I can't anticipate because we can't operate the school until the buildings have been renovated. So I can't put a date on that. It depends however long it takes for us to get the renovations done. The beauty of it is that the school is decentralized in 4 different buildings. And because we have 2 school buildings, what I probably will elect to do is focus on one for now, get that up and running, get the school up and running, and then once more monies are available, expand to the other building. That's the beauty of having the 2 schools versus one. Maybe we'll go with the Marcus Garvey School building first to get started, and then when funds are where they need to be, expand into the Frederick Douglass building, which is the major building of the 2. If I had it my way, I would operate the Frederick Douglass building first because it has everything in it. Like if we only had that one building and we didn't have the other 3, we would still be in great shape. But because it is a very large school, it's going to take more operating expense than the smaller school. So I've been meeting with contractors, different people. We're still brainstorming, but we're beginning the process of renovating the building now. But we're going to need more funding in order to complete it. But again, it's a modern school. It's not an old school. Very beautiful in the inside. Unfortunately, it was vandalized because the security system wasn't adequate. Had it not been vandalized, we probably wouldn't have it because that school was built on $15 million. And that was only less than a decade ago. It's a very modern school. It was they re-outfitted some existing homes and buildings in the neighborhood and turned it into a school. They used $15 million to do it. I mean, it is very modern. We don't have to worry about asbestos. We don't have to worry about lead paint. We don't have to worry about any of that. But because of the vandalism, the destruction of the water system, and they stole the sprinkler out the building, both sprinklers for each school. They ripped down the piping from the ceiling looking for copper. They ripped sinks and toilets off the walls. I mean, a lot of it was useless vandalism, to be honest with you, but they caused about $1 million worth of damage only to get a couple dollars in copper. And if you look at it, it'll make you want to cry because you'll say this building was perfect. It was move-in ready. It was moving ready, but God works in mysterious ways. And had it not been vandalized, there's no way in heaven we would have been able to get that school with the money that we had.
Wow. So, I mean, what, I know you need the renovations, but far as personnel goes, Doc, I mean, who are you looking for? Are you just looking for teachers? I mean, are you just looking for teachers?
Well, remember now, you're talking to a former school principal, so none of this is new to me. I'm a certified school principal. I've operated schools. I've been a principal and a vice principal. I've been on leadership teams. So none of this is new to me. It's new to a lot of people who don't know education, but it's not new to me. I mean, there's nothing difficult. There's nothing mysterious about what has to be done. It's a very straightforward process when you have the experience that I had with operating schools. So in terms of what I'm looking for, I know exactly what I'm looking for and what I need, but I'm looking for the best of what I need. And so that's why I'm letting folks know that they're interested in working at the school or volunteering at the school, because I have a lot of brothers and sisters who want to volunteer. They have their own businesses. They have their own careers, but they do want to come in a couple of times throughout the academic year and do different programs with the children. A lot of retired teachers, they want to give back as well. Some of them are going to be coaches for our teachers, which is going to be beautiful, because what that means is our young teachers, those who are young, and even those who are experienced, they will be able to get expert coaching from conscious Black retired teachers who were there when the schools desegregated, who know what it means to really teach a child how to read. So we're going to have an expert staff. But at present, we have about, 2,500 resumes that we have received already. Anyone who's interested in sending a resume, they can send it to FDMG resumes with an s@gmail.com. They should include a cover letter telling us a little bit about themselves, as well as a picture of themselves. For the sisters, they will have to be natural if they're going to work at the school. They don't have to be natural at the time they send in a resume. So nothing will be held against them if their hair is not natural at this point. But when they show up for work, It will have to be. So we're going to take our time. We're going to go through all of the resumes. There will probably be a lot of video interviews because there's no way you can interview 2,500 people. That'll take you about 5 years. We don't have that time. So there'll be a lot of interviews by video. And then we'll narrow that down. And then once we get to the people we really want, really have interest in, we'll bring them in for a physical interview, and then we'll decide who we're going to start with. But for those folks who are not selected, because there's no way you can hire 2,500, and by the time the school opens, it'll be about 5,000. There's no way you can interview that many people, and there's no way you can hire that many people. We can interview them, but we won't be able to hire that many people. So we're going to keep those resumes on hand because this will not be the only Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. We do plan to expand, and so those brothers and sisters who show an interest in the school, as we grow at this location and as we grow into other locations, there will be opportunities for them to join the staff.
So you said something a few minutes back. You said the women have to be natural to work at the school.
Yes.
Is there a particular reason why you want them to be natural, Doc?
Absolutely. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm a Garveyite. I'm unapologetically African. There's no way that you can properly educate the next generation of soldiers and organizers and leaders while you yourself are trying to emulate your oppressor. That is an absolute contradiction. I know it happens in the Black consciousness movement a lot, but a lot of things happen in the Black consciousness movement because the Black consciousness movement is not filled with a lot of serious people. We just have a bunch of YouTubers, a bunch of chit-chatters, a bunch of debaters, a bunch of documentary filmmakers, but there's no nation building, there's no organizing, and there's no institution building. That's what I'm about. As a Garveyite, we hold ourselves to a very high standard. Revolutionary Pan-African nationalists, we are a very serious people. And it's about more than YouTube, it's about more than videos. So for us, you have to live what you teach. And there's no way you're going to stand in front of young men at my school, at the RBG International Leadership Academy, and think you're going to be imitating your oppressor and be serious about liberation. No way.
Okay. You hear that, ladies out there? You listening? You go to work at FDMG, you got to leave the weave behind. Leave it behind.
And that means permanently behind. In other words, you can't be out at the mall on Sunday with a weave on. Students will see you and their parents will see you. Same thing with the brothers. You can't be dating an alien. No brother working at the school can be married to or dating or living with an alien. No woman of another race. Your queen must be an African or you can't work at the school either. So it goes for both. It goes for the men and the women. There can't be any contradictions in your personal life. There can be no contradiction with what we're standing for and what we're representing. Because you are the leader, you are the role model. The children will try to emulate you. So we got to be very serious about this. Very, very serious. And I also want to say this. For the brothers and sisters who have sent in the resumes, and I'm very, very fortunate to have received 2,500. I don't know too many places that get that amount, that much interest in any employment. I don't even know Fortune 500 companies that get those types of numbers of interested people. So I'm very, very gracious for that. But I'm hoping that everyone who sent in a resume for possible employment, that they also donated to the school. Because the first thing I'm going to check is our donation list to see whether or not you even donated to school. Because that is an absolute, unacceptable thing to have somebody applying to work at the school, but I didn't care enough to donate any money to the acquisition or renovation of the school. So that doesn't mean they're going to be excluded outright, but clearly that will be a mark against you. You want to work at an institution that you didn't help to build. I would have a problem with that. And let me say this, for folks who haven't donated, donate now because we need the funding for the renovation. I just deposited $4,500 in donations today, just $4,500 today. We got a long way to go, but we can get there. I mean, it took us 4.5 years to get this school, 4.5 years to raise $750,000. We don't have 4.5 years to renovate the school, so I'm going to say that outright. We need to get this done. We need to get it done now. There's no better place than the school that we have, so let's make it happen. Brothers and sisters can donate electronically through the Cash App, and that handle is FDMG School. I repeat, $ FDMG School. It is the Cash App handle. The full link is cash.me/$FDMG School. Cash.me/$FDMG School. If they want to mail in a check or money order, that's
So the renovations, let's talk about that for a little bit. Are you looking for, like, do you need carpenters? Do you need electricians? Do you need plumbers? Do you need that kind of help?
But let me qualify that. It's not hard to get any of those people. They've even been hitting me up. But what I'm looking for are carpenters, electricians, roofers, plumbers. Okay, those who know how to do HVAC and sprinkler systems. I'm looking for those who are willing to work with us financially. That's the holdup. You can't come in there and say we're going to charge you the corporate rate to redo your electrical system, the corporate rate to redo your plumbing, and none of these systems have to be totally redone, by the way. But we're going to charge you the corporate rate to do the roof and do the HVAC and do the sprinkler. We cannot afford that. So I'm looking for brothers and sisters who are coming with a revolutionary conscious mind, not a capitalist mind, not looking to exploit and rob from our boys, but who are looking to help. So I'm looking for brothers and sisters who will step in and say, listen, Doc, I'm an electrician. Okay, I can't do this for free, but I'm going to charge you cheaper than what I would normally charge someone. And I'm going to let you kind of pay this off. So give me this up front, and then give me this every month. It's going to take me about 6 months to get this job done. And if you can work with me like this, brother, I got you. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not just looking for somebody to come in and say I can do the job. There's carpenters all through Delaware. There's plumbers all through Delaware and Philadelphia, because the school is only 25 minutes from my front door. It's 25 minutes from North Philly. So Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware is in Philadelphia's backyard. In fact, the school is closer to the Philadelphia airport than my. Right? So I don't have a problem with getting access to tradesmen and tradeswomen. I have a problem getting access to people who are going to work with us, recognize the challenge and the immediacy of the times that we're living in. There's an all-out war on black boys. And I'm looking for people who are saying, this brother's donating his life, his time, his money to do this for our young men. Let me join in with him. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised that a construction company, black-owned, hasn't stepped forward. A contractor said, listen, with the type of support and following that you have around the world, listen, for you to just advertise my business and say we renovated FDMG, that's going to put me on a whole nother level. But a lot of our people don't think long term. We're so greedy for the dollar now. With my type of following and with my platform, I could give a business millions of dollars worth of marketing for free because of who I am and where I travel. I'm known on 7 continents. I'm supported on 7 continents. I'm the most requested black scholar in the decade. So I want people to think with a visionary mind and say, listen, if this brother puts our construction logo up on his building, all 4 buildings, and on all his marketing, and say these are who came and donated to FDMG, maybe not for free, but at a discounted rate, do you know what that would do for that construction company? The whole world know who they were. So I'm looking for a company that can step in and do something like that for us. But in the meantime, we're going to get started with what we have. But I stay faithful, brother. And I'm going to be honest with you. Acquiring this school has intensified my faith. I'm telling you it did, because we were getting the door slammed in our face everywhere we went. We should have been had a school, even with $750,000, which is not a lot of money for commercial property, but we should have been had a school. The problem was, once the realtors and owners found out who I was and what I was trying to do, they discontinued the communications. All of a sudden, properties that were available for sale were no longer available for sale. We should have had a school in Mount Vernon, New York. We should have had a school right here in Philadelphia. We should have had a school in Detroit, a school in Chicago, a school in Trenton, New Jersey. I can name about a dozen schools that we had the money for that we did not get just because we were black. But I thank God, and I thank the ancestors who were in none of those schools, is because the Lord was waiting to give us this right here. Supreme Consciousness had this, because this school is better than all of the others. None of those, all those were one building, and they were all traditional looking schools. The old look, the old dusty church look, all of them. This is a modern looking school. 4 buildings in the black community. What we got is way better than anything else. So I do think the universe are holding off until we got this blessing in Wilmington, Delaware.
Wow. Well, I already congratulated
I mean,
you.
once we open, brother, I'm telling you, once we open, it's a wrap. Once we are open, it is a wrap. I can't wait to take brothers and sisters through that school and see it, man, because it is so beautiful. I mean, it's a walk in that gym, a modern gym with the bleachers, and see all of the different events we can have. Black Wall Street. I want to have a monthly Black Wall Street where we rotate different black businesses around the country, and they come in, and you have 4 buildings filled up with black businesses, vendor tables, okay, marketing brochures, information, one-stop shop. So the whole black community, the whole East Coast, the whole country, know that on a certain day, everyone at the Martin Academy, there is a Black Wall Street. There is a Occupy Black Entrepreneurs event, which means that the whole Black America can come to our school, not my school, but our school, and buy everything they need from everybody black at the same time. Imagine that. Once a month, you can hold off on supporting the Europeans and the Arabs and the East Indians, and you can come to FDMG first Saturday of the month or last Sunday of the month, however we do it. You can get your black lotion, your black soap, your black clothing, your black... You can get everything you need, totally black owned, under the same roofs at the same time. We're about to revolutionize America. The school is only the beginning. See, the school, and that's revolutionary, but that's just the beginning of what we're going to be able to do with this space that we have at FDMG.
Yeah, man. Well, I already congratulated you, when you first got it. When I saw the video, man, of you turning that key, I was like, damn, man, this is really happening.
The haters, like they said, the haters, they said that was a fake key, fake building. They said we didn't buy the school, that we didn't own the school, that I broke into the school and did a 30-minute video with a 3-piece suit on and snuck out before the police showed up after the alarms went off. They broke it.
Yeah, well, you already know what that is, Doc.
See, let me say this. The reason why there was some resistance and hate by some people, because I don't like to expand it and I don't like to exaggerate it, because 99% of the African people of the world, because I'm international, not local, they support and love Dr. Umar Johnson. If they wasn't, I wouldn't be who I am, and I definitely wouldn't get the amount of requests that I get. I got about 40 dates on my calendar already. But the reason the hate came is because other people in the conscious movement needed me to fail, not just for reasons of jealousy and envy, but because if I evolve from saving black boys and helping black parents to building an institution to properly educate the children, see, I evolved from the scholar activist to the scholar institution builder. That was a leap that no one else had made in my age group and consciousness yet, not of this generation. So they needed me to fail because by succeeding, by us acquiring this building, it automatically raises the expectations of personalities in the conscious movement. And I say personalities because I would dare call them scholars. Most of them are not scholars, they just have an opinion, nothing more. No formal training, no research they've ever done, just an opinion on YouTube. So they're not scholars, they're not leaders either. They're not even activists because they don't do anything in the community. It's all YouTube and hustle strip. So they needed me to fail so they would never be expected to do more than just talk. So now that we have this school, and then once the school gets open, and once the organizing starts, and the institution building begins, then people are going to look at them and say, wait a minute now. Dr. Umar got an institution. He speaks more than all of y'all. He's more busy than all of you. And he got an institution. Where's your institution, hustler? Where's your institution, con artist? Where's your institution, Mr. Documentary Maker? Where's your institution, Mr. Debate Author? They're going to go around and they're going to start asking people, what are you doing for us besides making money off culture? What are you building for black people? What are you changing for black people? So they needed me to fail so that question would never get asked. But the question will get asked now because we have succeeded. Separate the activists from the intellectual masturbators. Separate the nation builders from the con artists. Separate the institution developers from the race hustlers.
So, I mean, I know it was rough all these years, listening to the naysayers, and I talked about this at the top of the hour, and it would seem that because we're all on media, we're always talking about, do this for black folks, do that for black folks. And when you have someone like yourself, Doc, actually doing it, actually out there on the ground talking about it, actually out there raising the money to make it happen, you would think that you would have more support because we're always talking about doing this, that, and the other thing for black folks. But when you got somebody like a Dr. Umar literally out there doing the damn thing for black folks, you can't get the support. What do you think is behind that?
Well, I couldn't say that I didn't get the support because, the donations were rolling in by the dozens every day. So from a quantity perspective, we had the support. I had the support from a moral standpoint and from a numbers standpoint. So if you say, hey, who supports Dr. Umar, the hands are there, the numbers, but in terms of that consistent financial outpouring, that's where we're a little shaky. And I wouldn't personalize that towards me. That's just who we are as a people. Look, you don't have an African town nowhere in Black America. You got a Chinatown everywhere. You got a little Italy everywhere. You got a Jewish community everywhere. You don't have a single place in Black America where we own the supermarket, the bank, the hospital, and the school, all in the same community. So I wouldn't personalize it to me. The support was without question there. Like, this school is probably the first school in American African history where every country, every black community on earth contributed to the purchasing of FDMG. I don't know of another institution, not just school, except Garvey. So it's been 100 years. It's been 100 years. I don't know of another institution since Garvey that we can point to and say, this right here was purchased by every black community on the planet. Our donations came from Ghana, Australia, UK, Canada, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Haiti. The donations came from every state in the country. Like, literally, when we say this is a Pan-African project, it was a Pan-African project. So I got the support. I guess probably we could say that it should have still been greater because of who I am and what I represent. And I think that's what you're getting at, and I agree with you. When you look at the fact that I'm the only certified school psychologist in America that teaches black parents the secrets of miseducation. Like, before me, they didn't know the learning disability was an opinion and not a fact. Before me, they didn't know ADHD was a hustle. Before me, they didn't know all these parental rights. No psychologist ever broke it down like I did, including all my predecessors. Most of them weren't school psychologists anyway. They were clinical or counseling or whatever the case may be. But, nobody ever did it the way that I did it, and no one has ever helped as many parents as I've done for free. So yes, it should have been much more than we should have had 10 schools over 4 years. When you look at my work, my track record, and not only that, the crisis that we're in. The crisis that we're in should have dictated that we should have been more successful than we have, but I don't want to overlook the mountains of support that I've gotten, brother. I got about 5 boxes of letters that accompanied the donations that we've received over these past 5 years. And it'll be 5 years this month because we began the fundraiser in April of 2014. We acquired the school in February. April of 2019 is 5 years later. And I need to find out the exact date because that's going to be a very significant day in FDMG's calendar year. But this month, April, 5 years ago is when we started the process. And I'm telling you, brother, 5 boxes of letters, cards, from everybody, from grandparents to educators to lawyers to little children, even the babies. My baby got everybody's treating me and it's hurting my mom. And brother, I got letters that will make you cry, man, and made me cry. And I'll be honest with you, what really has sustained me, not only through the 4.5 years of fundraising for FDMG, not only through the 9 years of being on top of the conscious community, not only 20 years of being an activist for our people in the streets, but what has really sustained me